the neon lights, we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.
Good morning and welcome, and thank you for joining me. It's 7:44. It is the 24th day of January 2025. It is 52 degrees and sunny outside, but I have the shivers, so hopefully I'm not getting sick. The weather outside is continuing to be weird. I am surrounded by a barrage of fires, but at the moment it's nice outside, so it's weird because it's scary, but it also smells like barbecue and makes you hungry. Is that wrong? All right, it's Friday. It's time to take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game crowdfunding type thingies that are coming to an end, but you still have a chance to support if any of them are cool. I'm having a lot of computer problems today, so you may or may not be hearing me. I don't know. Let's go crazy. Bam, bam. Okay, right at the top, we've got this nightmare-inducing looking body horror thing. This is from our friends at Cobalt Press. This is Monster Vault 2 for TOV. Monster Vault 1 came out with the original TOV, right? Yeah, it did. Okay, so it's just monsters. $59 for the PDF and print version of Monsters. Is there going to be any monster in here you haven't seen before? Don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Doubtful. I mean, there's only so many monsters, right? Left. There's only so many ways to reskin a blob. But if you want to continue to play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons as it's meant to be played under the 2014 through 2019 rules, without having to deal with the weirdness of Wizards of the Coast, supporting Cobalt Press and Tales of the Valiant is probably the best way to do it. It's going to be the closest to the continuation of 5.0 that you all enjoy. And if you've already jumped on the 6th edition bandwagon, then you don't need this book because you're already got all the new stuff. So there you go. But this is proof that if there's still people out there who are playing 2014 through 2019 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, that they do have support. There is product being made for them, and you don't have to be part of the Wizards of the Coast weirdness to still play 5th edition D&D the way it was meant to be played, because Cobalt Press is doing a damn good job. Moving on. From Goodman Games, we've got Terror of the Underdeep, a giant box of 5e adventure. This is an adventure for $121 for the PDF and print versions of the books, plus 6 more books. It converts the well-known DCC campaign to 5e, covering levels 8 through 16. It's got traps, monsters, new rules. Terrors from the Underdeep is a giant box. It contains Terrors from the Underdeep number 2, through playtest packets to something called FF31. I suppose that would mean something if you played Dungeon Crawl Classic. It's got an adventure called Ides of the Rat King, The Lost Vault of Tazra Ro. Isn't that a Star Trek character? The Lost Vault of Tazra Ro Part 2, Sailors of the Starless Sea. I've played through Sailors of the Starless Sea. It's a first level dungeon grinder that DCC is so famous for, and converting it to 5e seems weird, but okay. And then the Red Dragon Treasures Map, which is a treasures map, I guess, plus it's got some maps, some tokens, some dice, and some other stuff. There probably is a cheaper way to get your hands on this other than almost $200, but let's see. Okay. Did they change Kickstarter in the last 48 hours? Because this page makes no sense. Or is this my computer? Like I said, I'm having computer problems, so I don't know. But what am I looking at? Where's the numbers? Is there a small? I assume there's a PDF version, because there's always a PDF version that's going to cost you less than that. And then if I'm assuming there are steps up in the Kickstarter, and the one we're looking at is the most expensive version of it with the $121 for the print version with all the doodads and the figure and everything else. But because that's usually when they do the Kickstarter thingies, they show you the biggest version of it. And then if you actually go to the Kickstarter page, you'll see that there are smaller and larger versions, but this is like the most popular one, I guess. This is the shiniest one. This is the one that's most likely to get attention. So that's the one that they usually push on the page, but there are other versions. So I'm assuming there's a cheaper than this. But yeah, it's just a big mega dungeon crawl of 5e goodness from DCC goodness. I don't really think it's that hard to convert from DCC to 5e, but whatever. I don't think it's really that hard to convert any of the D20 stuff to other D20 stuff, but I guess I'm just alone in that thought. We've got the White Box Cyclopedia from Barrel Riders Game and Gallant Knight Games. This is a core rule box set, $30 for the PDF of the book and a POD coupon. The project takes the Swords and Wizardry White Box section plus additional rules options, combining them into a single book containing White Box Omnibus, White Box Companion, White Star, White Box Science Fiction Role-Playing Game. That everything has been done, taking Dave and Gary's beloved game and then keeping it alive the way we're most likely familiar with it. It's got 30 classes, 12 heritage, nearly 200 monsters, spells, chivalry, strongholds, and more. It's everything that an OSR fan would want, except 30 classes and 12 heritages, because I guess you've decided to not call them races. I don't remember there being 30 classes in original Dungeons and Dragons, or even advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or even current Dungeons and Dragons. Aren't there only like 9 classes? Are you counting subclasses as a separate class? Because there's the fighter and its 2 cousins, right? Paladin, Ranger. There's the magic user and its cousins, Warlock and Sorcerer. There's the cleric and its cousins, right? Druid and I guess monk. And then there's the bard, who's then there's the rogue and his cousins and the bard, right? Who has just sort of his own little weird thing. That's not 30. And each one has 3 subclasses, so 12 times 3 is... Well, I mean, I guess if you're counting subclasses, then it is, because 12 times 3 is 33, right? 32? I don't know. But I don't think there's 30 classes. I definitely don't think calling them heritages is OSR, but whatever. EM Publishing presents Level Up 5e, a 5 Gate Pass Gazette Annual 2024. This is $45 for the PDF and print version of the book. This is for Level Up 5e / 5th edition. It's everything that they released in 2024, including adventures, regions to explore, new classes, new races, new ideas, shopkeepers, combat things, heritages, blah, 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 blah. Just took a whole bunch of issues of the Gate Pass magazine, which is their version of the classic dungeon magazine, and smushed them all together and then put it in a one big gigantic book for $45. Bloke Games releases Vigilante City for 5e, street level superheroes, $29 for the PDF of the book. It's taken the beloved Vigilante City and converted it to 5e. I don't know if it needed to be converted to 5e. Vigilante City is pretty good on its own, but I mean, yeah, 5e does seem to be very appropriate for superhero role-playing game. So if you're looking for a superhero role-playing game using the 5e engine and you're not already familiar with the Bloke Game stuff, let me just tell you guys, Vigilante Cities is in my top 5 of superhero role-playing games. So seeing it converted to 5e could be a good thing. I mean, it's pretty good as it is. It's got some things I don't like, but all in all, I'd rate it in the top 5. From Shades of Vengeance, we've got Shark Ninja. This is the first time we've seen Ed on the list. Congratulations, Ed. This is for the Era role-playing game. You know, I've had Ed on my channel a dozen times so far, and he will be coming on the channel again to talk about Shark Ninja. It's $15 for the PDF and print version of the book. Imagine a world that's been taken over by aliens, and the only way to fight the aliens is to take sharks and use the technology to turn them into ninjas. And why are the shark ninjas fighting to save the humans from aliens? Because the shark ninjas have discovered that humans taste better when they're free range. So they want to free them from the alien oppression so they can continue to eat them the way they're meant to be eaten. That is the premise of Shark Ninjas. And if that's not the coolest game idea you've ever heard of since Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't know what to tell you. It's Saturday morning cartoon genius. I'm proud to be a small part of it because I've talked to Ed about it, and the story behind its creation is amazing. I highly recommend it. You check it out. And that's it. Yeah, obviously, I recommend this. It's Ed, it's sharks, it's ninjas, it's shark ninjas fighting aliens because they want to eat you. Brilliant. I also would recommend this. If you don't already have it, get it. If you do already have it, you probably don't need it. And I would recommend this simply because it's EN World and we want to support them. And I love the idea of zines. Look, guys, if by now you don't have an OSR, OGL game of choice after so many years, then you're probably not going to get one. And if you already have a OSR, OGL game of choice, then you probably have 2 or 3 more, or 40 more in some cases. So do you really need a new one? I don't know enough about this. I mean, it's Goodman Games, so I'm going to give him a nod. It's converting DCC to 5e. Sort of seems backwards because DCC is so drastically different, but it could work. Maybe I don't have enough information. The Kickstarter is weird. And then Monster Vault for 5e from Cobalt Press. More monsters. Do you need more monsters? If you do need more monsters and you're still gung-ho to play 2014 to 2019 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons the way it's meant to be played, then this is probably the book you need. Or if you're like me and you have every monster you're ever going to need, then you're like, why do I need more monsters? Why do I need 300 new versions of Orc? I don't. I can just reskin things. So, it's tough. It's tough. You love the idea of new monster books. Everybody loves the idea of monster books. Monster books are usually the #1 seller for any company. And for every 10 that you've seen 100 times before, occasionally they toss one in that you've never seen before, from whether it be mythology or folklore or science fiction or fantasy, or I should probably put this envelope in the mail. I wonder how long that's been sitting here. That's probably important. Occasionally they throw you a zinger and you're like, I've never seen that before. Or where did that idea come from? Or you have the flump when you're like, you guys needed to fill one more page, didn't you? So yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard. Like for me, a grumpy miser, I don't see the reason to buy this, but other people might be yes. Anyways, again, cycling back to the beginning of this discussion, 5e support for 5e from 2014. This is the only way you're going to continue to get 5e support going forward, probably. So at least keep an eye on it. There you go. Links down below to everything that I think is worth your time. Thanks for spending a morning with me. We'll have more stuff coming up later on today. And don't forget, I will have Dave Scott from Evil Genius Games on 2 o'clock today to talk about the situation between him and EN World. I wonder how I'm going to do that without getting myself into trouble, probably with a lot of things at the beginning of the end in regards to do not hold me legally responsible for anything David Scott says. And let's face it, I'm selfishly doing it just to grow my channel. So talk to you later. Have a great morning. Something. See ya.
Roll the dice and ride the wave. Quest and dragons, the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.